Welcome to this fascinating study about Boriquén. Let's explore why did the Spaniards found Taínos whiter than that of the people of Castilla. In this video, we're going to address this question. First, what does this mean? This is referring to a discovery made by the Spaniards themselves upon entering Puerto Rico, which is that instead of only the common Taíno peoples that we all know of the darker skin complexions among Native America, they had also found Taíno peoples that apparently by description it's most likely for this variety of Taíno to be pale-skinned. So who are they and why? In this channel, through investigation, we have acquired the two most closest possibilities for this answer. So that being said, let's go to the first possibility. Possibility number 1. Neo-Siberians. This is a very well-known immigration of the Americas bringing in male haplogroup C, around the year 1200, 300 years before the Spaniards. Their recent introduction into Arawak communities throughout the Caribbean, North America, and parts of South America might partially be the reason why their phenotype was still available. Neo-Siberians account with different admixture than their Paleo-Siberian counterparts. Paleo-Siberians are very dark-skinned, while Neo-Siberian skin can be pale, and might have even arrived Native America with some Iranic or Slavic-derived ancestry, which happens to be the case for many Turkic or Tungusic peoples. This includes other admixture that is not native to America, then watered down upon recombination to the point of barely traceable. It is also noteworthy to add Neo-Siberians displaced and mixed with much of the North American tribes. This is especially true the more north of North America you go, albeit there could be some exceptions, but their ancestry can be seen in tribes like the Yanomami and others, where some individuals may carry lighter skin in comparison to the original darker-skinned South American type, which not always encompasses all of South America. However, some of these South Americans express phenotypes that are Neo-Siberian, such as the lighter-skinned Native Americans that would resemble North Asians like the Japanese and the Koreans, rather than your typical native Caribbean types. Here's an example of Neo-Siberian ancestry in North American tribes. Another noteworthy addition is my own Boricua DNA. Somewhere in my native Caribbean DNA, gate-match tools is able to pinpoint the evidence of Pima peoples within my genes, who are practically Neo-Siberians that settled in a place in California. After that, they went to other places, and were probably even pushed to places in modern-day Mexico. That being said, this genetic tool is able to trace this culture somewhere within my Taíno DNA. I am safe to say Boriquén was actually a mixture of many cultures. Puerto Rico could have possibly been the most multicultural place in pre-colonized America, harboring in Puerto Rico the darkest and the lightest ethnic groups in all ancient Native America. This leads us to our second possibility. Number 2. The Canaanites, seafaring peoples, or the Canaanites, whom in any case are relatively similar tribes. After studying Taíno language for more than 15 years, these are some of the biggest clues that support this claim. Some official archaeological work, and other clues stem from my own personal line of investigation. Archaeologists actually found ancient cuneiform writing in Puerto Rico that is similar to the writing of the Phoenicians, who are none other than a branch of the Canaanites. Therefore, this claim is also a proven possibility, just as the Neo-Siberian genetic and archaeological fact. From other historians, we have gathered that Canaanites mean Eastern peoples. The Canaanites are depicted as pale and even blonde-haired. From my own field of study, I know the Canaanites to be most likely one of the foundations to the ancient North Eurasians, the populations responsible for the lightest skin pigmentation mutations. From most of their confederation of tribes, one of the tribes that were spared and permitted to live unlike most of their original tribal neighbors native to the islands of Canaan, parts of the Levant, and other places. Some sources suggest the entirety of the Eurasian belt. It is possible they left their ancestry in the Canary Islands. Therefore, some historians connect Taíno ancestry to the Afro-Asiatic Guanche of the Canary Islands, which would suggest an easy sailing through the currents that actually lead straight to Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean. This would point as Phoenicians to be the most likely choice. But other sources can also paint a different route for the Canaanites to reach Americas. This would imply that the Canaanites would cross an extinct ice sheet via the Pacific or Beringia. This would just connect further the Canaanites to the ancient North Eurasian men that took Paleo-Siberian women to the Americas. If the Canarian theory would be true, it would still attest to the similarities between the Khan of Eurasia and prefix elements of Canary Islands and Canaanites, practically telling you where they were and where they went, where next we will see how it also ties to Canaanites, Kenites, and the name Boriken itself. After 15 years of studying Taíno language and just language linguistics overall, it is most likely Boriken may also mean the Great Lord, the Kenites, or the land of the Great Kenites. For Taíno, this could have been an ancient denomination their culture had somewhere in their past history, and not just mean Boriken, the land of the Great Lord. That's a total clear interpretation where we are missing the identity of these lords. Nonetheless, the N after the Ke is also known to refer to somebody who's higher or noble. We are possibly witnessing a royal lineage amongst the Taíno nation, particularly in Puerto Rico. If we extract the word Ken from the name of Puerto Rico, Boriken, we can immediately see the similarities between these already previously connected words. Ken, Khan, Han, Han, Xiong, Hyung, and even the word Sion can find a similar origin. Most may address the same type of people who share similar origins and patriarchs. Most are reference to Ham, who is also Cam, and these would also refer to Cain as the seed of Cain. I'll be reading an article pertaining to the Canaanites from Genesis6conspiracy.com, and it reads as follows. Chapter 38, the Kenazim and the Kenim. The most famous biblical Canaanites likely descended from Kenaz was Caleb, and Caleb's younger brother Kenaz, who was the father of Othniel. Caleb fought alongside Israel in the Promised Land conquest and inherited Hebron, Kiriath-arba, controlled by Anakim. What is not clear with Caleb, though, is whether he was a descendant of Kenaz or Kenazim Rephaim, and we do not know who Kenaz's mother was. Caleb was likely an Edomite, based on the fact that Caleb's brother was patronymically named Kenaz. Very little is known about the Kenazim in or outside the Bible. Strong's Encyclopedia suggests the Kenazim were a nomadic tribe that dwelled beyond the land, Israel. Kenazim likely were eastern giants based on the geography presented in the land awarded to Abraham's descendants, from the Nile to the Euphrates. Not only were the BNQDM listed as people of the East, but QDM was also translated as ancient in the Ugaritic text. There are no Egyptian records recording Kenazim, but KNZ does surface as a personal Berber name, indicating an ancient patronymic tradition by that name. The Kenazim were not listed in the Bible among any of the nations in the time of the conquest of the covenant land, nor was their patriarch tallied in the table of nations, with the latter indicating Kenazim were Rephaim. Canaanites, according to Nelson's and Unger's dictionaries, I hope I didn't butcher that name, Unger or Unger, were very skilled in the arts of metalworking, like Cain and Tubal-Cain, and were closely related to Kenites. One deduces the metalworking crafts were devoted mostly to weapons of war, yet another characteristic of Rephaim nations. The close Kenazim kinship with the Kenim shines light on the obscure Kenazim and the peoples of the East and the West. Duke Kenaz, Qnaz, son of Eliphaz of Edom, seems to have been named in the same tradition as Amalek to honor a giant race as the patriarch for the hybrid Canaanites and whatever that reads, Quinizi of the Edom region. The evidence of Mesopotamic elements in Puerto Rico Boriken, such as Canaanite type writing, is none other than ancient North Eurasians who are already known to be a part of the heritage of all Native Americans. In this channel's investigation, we confirm that the Canaanites are indeed the logical foundation for the ancient North Eurasian peoples. Canaanites derive from the Edomites, who share similarities with their next-door neighbors, the Moabites and the Ammonites. Some of their influences may indeed be that of blood ties and even religion, although we may see evidence of them through authentic Boricua names, such as Bayamon, which between interpretations, it may mean the fire of Ammon, the great spirit of Ammon, the great spirit of the Lord Ammon. Along this article, we may also see how even the phrase the children of Ammon exists among their culture. However, the lineage does not seem to be particularly straight from the kingdom of Ammon, thus this tribe was destroyed along the others. Therefore, thanks to the scripture, we are safe to assume all the evidence points and suggests that the Canaanites are indeed part of the history of Puerto Rico. Note, it is logical to see even the memory of Ammon because Israelites, Moabites, Edomites, Ammonites, the tribe of Judah, etc., would seek wives among each other. In the beginning, all of the above may be clustered as ancient Afro-Asiatic, but if they are that ancient, how is their pale-skinned phenotypes still available? In that case, it is possible this is the remnant of those peoples that due to geographical challenges were able to seclude and keep the pale skin. Then later on into the present, it is possible they were absorbed into the Puerto Rican population, and ancestry may be read as labeled as Taíno generically. However, in GetMatch tools, it is possible this ancestry can be read as Afro-Asiatic or even as Ancient North Eurasian, to which Ancient North Americans are half of before the Neo-Siberian, Polynesian, Oceanic immigrations into Americas circa year 1200 modern era. Therefore, this would propel this investigation to place our attention towards Neo-Siberians and even later Canaanites, just a bit more recent than Canaanites or Kenizzites, where now instead of the prefix Can from Cain, the Kenites and the Canaanites will move to the prefix Ker, Kor, and Kar. First of all, the general rule is these names are added or given, but it is known they would know themselves as Canaanites from wherever they were. So the Canaanites went from Canaanites to many other tribal names. An example is from Canaanites to Philistines or Philistines, a word that is akin to Palestine, Peleset, and Pelasgians. After they were known as Philistines, then they became Carthage. Here we are finally seeing our prefix Kar. For the Yamnaya, they will call it the Ker or Kor, Kurgan or Korgan hypothesis, which derive about half or third of their entire genome from ancient North Eurasians or Kenites. Prefix Kor, as seen in North Asiatic relatives to the Taíno, Koreans, Koryaks. We have a Kar from Caritiana, Kar from Caribas, aka the Caribe, the Caribbeans. The island where the Can-Ibals, giants, would keep their Arawak wives was the island of Sibuqueira or Caruqueira. See how now all the way from the Pontiac-Caspian steppe to South America, we are seeing similarities with the first prefix, such as Kar, Ker, and Kor, who are peoples who share spiritual to cultural practices, such as cannibalism, and possibly other extreme seafaring capabilities. This is primarily one of the elements that would tie the Guanche of the Canary Islands to the indigenous population of Puerto Rico. Thus, in the end, historians would be correct to trace a lineage that would connect the Taíno to the Guanche. This will be total confirmed genetics fact between Kenizzites of the ancient North Eurasians and Neo-Siberian ancestry in Puerto Rico Boriquen. The most logical answer, however, is that these peoples were Neo-Siberians. The quote indicates Taínos whiter than that of peoples of Castilla. Therefore, they must have seen Mongoloid features on their phenotypes, most likely referring to the literal values of their skin tone. Otherwise, there's a slight possibility this could be a remnant of maybe a Phoenician family. I would leave out Guanche as less likely, They are known to have darker pigmentation similar to dark olive, contrary to the description of these Taíno. The best archaeologists in Puerto Rico are finding that the ancient cultures of the island of Boriken were some of the most diverse places of ancient Native America. This is also seen and evidenced on the haplogroup maps of the Caribbean, implying our Taíno of Boriken were a mix of many peoples, even to a higher degree than that of our next door neighbor Quisqueya. In conclusion, Canaanites or Kenicites and Neo-Siberians are confirmed to have been a part of the Taíno history, and Taíno and Guanche share a common ancient North Eurasian or Canaanite ancestors. Nonetheless, of all the peoples mentioned, it is most likely this group that the Spaniards found in the islands of Puerto Rico is a recent lineage remnant of Neo-Siberians. These people would carry a haplotype that should be North Central Asiatic, Y chromosome C. That is the most logical answer, being the Neo-Siberian immigrations, not only recent circa 1200s, 1300s, but also this wave brought other elements of diversity. If somewhere we can find that these people had beards, an average height of maybe 5'8" to 5'10", and possibly curly Mediterranean type hair, then we could consider Phoenicians a little bit more involved. But for now, we will go with the literal interpretation, and that is that they were Taíno. We can infer from this statement, Neo-Siberians and Taíno are very similar in appearances for exception of key characteristics, such as the skin color. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comment section all you know about the Spanish Chronicles, and all you can find that can probably paint us an even broader picture onto what's happening in this situation. This is Taíno WHITER, and I'll see you on the next video.